Audiobook, The Mentality of the 1%. Prologue. The 1% Mentality. Imagine for a moment that every day you strive to improve just 1%. This isn't a radical change or a drastic shift in your life, but rather a small, simple improvement. It could be reading one more page of a book, spending 5 extra minutes practicing a skill, doing an extra rep in your workout, or simply choosing a healthier option in your diet. You might think, what's the point of 1%? It's too small to make a real difference. But this is where the magic happens. When you improve 1% every day, the effect isn't linear, but exponential. After a year, you'll have grown impressively, not because you made a huge leap overnight, but because each small improvement has accumulated over time. This concept is the key to the success of many highly productive people. High-performance leaders and athletes don't rely on lucky breaks or extraordinary talents. What sets them apart is their focus on continuous improvement and the accumulation of small daily victories. Breaking the myth of instant success. We live in a world that glorifies quick results. We're sold the idea that success comes overnight, that there are secrets to making money quickly, losing weight in a few days, or achieving mastery in a subject with a weekend course. But the reality is different. True achievements don't arise from sudden, major transformations, but from small, consistent actions repeated day after day. The problem is that many people underestimate this process because the results aren't immediate. If you start reading 10 pages a day, you won't notice much of a difference in a week, but in a year you'll have read dozens of books. If you start walking 15 minutes a day, you may not see any changes in your physique in a week, but over time you will have strengthened your stamina, your health, and your well-being. Success is not a one-time event, but a cumulative process. It is the result of consistently repeating the right actions. How the 1% mindset works. Adopting the 1% mindset means shifting your focus from big changes to small adjustments. Instead of trying to transform your life overnight, you start focusing on marginal but steady improvements. Here's how it works. Redefining success and failure. Instead of measuring your progress by big leaps, you measure it by small improvements. A day without progress isn't a failure, but an opportunity to readjust and continue. Prioritize consistency over intensity. Moderate but consistent effort is more effective than extreme but sporadic effort. It's better to exercise 10 minutes a day every day than 2 hours on one day and give up from exhaustion. Focus on systems, not just goals. Goals are the end result, systems are the habits and processes that lead you to them. Instead of obsessing over losing 10 pounds, focus on establishing healthy eating habits and daily physical activity. Develop patience and confidence in the process. Results aren't always immediate, but every small improvement brings you closer to your goal. When you trust the accumulation of these improvements, you stay motivated even when progress seems invisible at first. Examples of applying the 1% mentality. This mindset can be applied to any aspect of your life. Let's look at some concrete examples. Health and well-being. Instead of radically changing your diet, add one more serving of vegetables a day. Instead of forcing yourself to go to the gym every day, start with a 5-minute workout at home. Professional development. Instead of trying to learn a new skill in a week, study for 15 minutes each day. Instead of writing a book in a month, write 100 words a day. Personal relationships. Instead of expecting grand gestures, improve your daily interactions with small actions, a thank you message, a compliment, listening more attentively. Personal finances. Instead of trying to save large sums all at once, set aside a small percentage of your income each day or week. Instead of waiting until you have a large sum to invest, start with small, consistent investments. The hidden benefits of the 1%. This approach not only helps you improve, but also protects you from several common problems. Avoid burnout. Small changes are more sustainable and less overwhelming than radical transformations. Reduces resistance to change. It is easier to accept and maintain small adjustments than drastic changes. Builds self-confidence. Every small improvement is a victory that reinforces your belief that you can keep moving forward. It creates a domino effect. Improving one aspect of your life often positively impacts others. For example, improving your exercise routine can translate into increased productivity and overall well-being. How to get started with the 1% mindset. If you want to apply this principle in your life, follow these practical steps. Choose an area for improvement. Identify what aspect you want to progress in: health, productivity, finances, relationships, etc. Define a small, specific improvement. Don't try to do too much. Choose something concrete and manageable. Create a daily action plan. Establish a simple habit that you can repeat every day without undue effort. Track your progress. Use a journal, list, or app to visualize your cumulative improvement. Celebrate the small victories. Every step counts. Recognizing your progress will keep you motivated. Be patient and constant. Don't worry if progress seems slow at first. Consistency is key. Chapter 1. The cumulative effect of small improvements. We live in an age where everything seems to revolve around speed. We crave immediate results: losing weight in a week, learning a language in a month, or becoming rich overnight. However, reality reveals an unavoidable truth: the most significant achievements are rarely achieved instantly. They are the fruit of continuous work, of small efforts made again and again over time. The 1% improvement principle is a powerful and transformative tool. It's not about making drastic changes overnight, but rather about making steady, step-by-step progress. This process gives rise to what is known as the cumulative effect, one of the most influential forces we can use to generate lasting change in any area of our lives. Imagine placing a small ice cube in a room at -5 degrees Celsius. You watch it, waiting for something to happen, but you don't see any transformation. The temperature rises to -4 degrees Celsius, then -3 degrees Celsius, -2 degrees Celsius, -1 degrees Celsius, and the ice stays the same. But when it finally reaches 0 degrees Celsius, something astonishing happens: the ice begins to melt. What seemed like a static situation was actually a silent, accumulating process of invisible transformations that, little by little, led to an obvious change. The same is true of our daily efforts. Reading 10 pages a day doesn't make you an expert immediately, but after a year, you'll have read more than 3,600 pages. Saving a small amount daily may seem insignificant, but in 5 years, you could have amassed a considerable sum. Doing a few repetitions of exercise a day may seem insufficient, but over time, thousands of movements that strengthen your body accumulate. The key to the cumulative effect is consistency. Those small actions, repeated day after day, end up generating an ever-increasing impact, like a snowball that grows as it rolls down a hill. The power of habits lies precisely there, in their ability to multiply their benefits over time. If you improve just 1% a day in any area of your life, by the end of a year you won't just be a little better, you'll be many times more effective, thanks to the exponential cumulative effect. The difference between a person who makes a little progress each day and one who remains static can become abysmal over the years. Let's consider a few examples. Drinking an extra glass of water each day may seem trivial, but in the long run it improves your hydration, your skin, and your energy levels. Saving a small fraction of your income each month can become a solid financial foundation over the years. Writing a few lines each day can, after 12 months, lead to an entire book. Learning one new word in another language every day adds up to more than 300 words in a year. Each small step becomes a piece that fits into a larger purpose. However, many people abandon this path because they don't see immediate results. They expect visible transformations in a very short time, and when they don't see them, they become discouraged and give up. This happens because the initial progress is often imperceptible. Consider the Chinese bamboo. For the first few years after planting its seed, nothing is visible above ground. But underground, its roots spread and strengthen. And suddenly, in just a few weeks, the bamboo grows several meters. This is also the case with personal development. At first, it may seem like nothing is changing, but over time, the accumulation becomes powerful. Therefore, the essential thing is not to give up before seeing the fruits. Perseverance is what distinguishes those who achieve true transformation from those who remain in the same place. Now that you understand the value of small improvements, there are practical ways to apply this philosophy to your life. The first thing is to focus on the process, not just the outcome. Don't just think about the end goal, but rather what you can do today to get closer to it. Make your progress visible. Keep track of your progress, whether with a notebook, an app, or a simple list. Reward your consistency, not your perfection. Don't beat yourself up about the days you don't make as much progress as you'd like. Celebrate the fact that you're still on track. Avoid the all-or-nothing mentality. If you can't exercise for an hour, do just 5 minutes. If you can't save a large sum, set aside a small amount. Every little bit counts. Be patient and trust the process. Remember that change may not be obvious at first, but over time it becomes impossible to ignore. Many successful people have harnessed this silent power. Warren Buffett, one of the world's most renowned investors, built his fortune not through impulsive decisions, but through consistent and sustained investments. Stephen King writes a fixed number of words each day, slowly but surely, which has allowed him to publish dozens of books. Kobe Bryant, one of the most admired basketball players, was known for training in the wee hours of the morning, repeating his exercises over and over again. This daily dedication made a difference in his performance. Success doesn't usually come in the form of a sudden leap, but rather as the result of thousands of small decisions accumulated over time. True transformation isn't based on doing something extraordinary one day, but on doing the ordinary consistently for many days. The key is accumulation. If you improve just 1% today, you might not notice. But if you do it every day, in a few months you'll be amazed at how far you've come. The difference between those who advance and those who fall behind isn't the strength of the initial push, but the patience and discipline to keep taking small steps, day after day. You don't need radical changes to transform your life. You just need a commitment to constant improvement. Ready to begin your journey? Start today. 1% is all it takes. Chapter 2. Breaking the comfort zone, the invisible danger of comfort. If there's a silent enemy to growth and constant improvement, it's undoubtedly the comfort zone. It's that space where you feel safe, where there are no risks, where everything seems stable and predictable. But it's also the place where progress stops. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you truly grew or took a significant step in your life? It was probably at a time when you were faced with something new, challenging, even uncomfortable. Comfort may feel pleasant, but it acts as a silent brake that prevents you from moving forward. Many people don't reach their full potential, not because they lack talent or ability, but because they've fallen into a rut that no longer challenges them. The key to achieving real change lies in stepping out of that comfort zone and learning to live with the discomfort that comes with growth. The comfort zone is a state of mind in which we move within the known. It's familiar, predictable, and safe. Our minds are programmed to protect us from danger, so any new or unfamiliar situation triggers defense mechanisms that warn us, this could pose a risk. In ancient times, this helped us survive. However, today we no longer face the same dangers, yet we continue to avoid the unknown. There are clear signs that you might be stuck in your comfort zone. You repeat the same activities every day without feeling any progress. You avoid challenges for fear of making mistakes. You prefer what you know, even if you know something new could bring you something better. You don't feel inspired or motivated, but you don't take any action to change. You put off your goals because they seem too difficult or uncertain. Staying in this state not only prevents you from growing, but in the long run, it can lead to stagnation and a feeling of emptiness. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. Every time you learned something new, developed a skill, or achieved an important goal, it was because you dared to step out of your comfort zone and dive into the unknown. That space where breakthroughs occur is called the learning zone. There, although there is uncertainty, there is also growth, new experiences, and valuable discoveries. These zones can be understood like this. The comfort zone is where everything is safe and predictable, but there is no growth. The learning zone involves some discomfort but offers opportunities for development. And then there is the panic zone, where the challenge is so great that it can generate paralyzing fear. The goal is not to move directly from the comfort zone to the panic zone, but to advance gradually, facing new challenges without feeling completely overwhelmed. Getting out of your comfort zone doesn't mean making drastic changes overnight. The key is to move forward little by little, consistently. As with the 1% philosophy, it's about taking small actions every day. For example, change your usual route to work, try a new food, start a conversation with someone you don't know, or express your opinion in more intimate conversations if you struggle with public speaking. Each small change trains your mind to accept change. Fear, far from being an enemy, is an ally. It's the sign that you're growing. Instead of avoiding it, listen to it. If something scares you but doesn't pose a real danger, maybe that's precisely what you should try. Successful people aren't those who don't feel fear, but those who act despite it. It's also important to learn to be comfortable with discomfort. Stepping out of your comfort zone can be difficult at first, but over time you adapt. It's like returning to exercise after a long time away. It hurts at first, but little by little it becomes more bearable. The same thing happens with the mind. The more you expose yourself to new situations, the more natural it becomes to deal with them. Surround yourself with people who inspire you to excel. The people you spend time with greatly influence your mindset. If you're surrounded by people who always stay in their comfort zone, it'll be harder for you to step out of yours. But if you surround yourself with people who strive to grow, learn, and challenge themselves, you'll feel driven to do the same. Change your perception of failure, too. One of the biggest obstacles to leaving your comfort zone is the fear of making mistakes. But failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the path to it. Every unsuccessful attempt is a learning opportunity. The most successful people in the world have had to face many setbacks before achieving something great. The difference isn't in avoiding failure, but in knowing how to get up and move forward. There are many ways to step out of your comfort zone in different areas of life. At work, you could apply for new responsibilities, learn different skills, or share your ideas in meetings. Socially, try talking to new people, attending events, or opening up more in your conversations. Regarding your health, gradually change your eating habits or try a new exercise routine. In terms of learning, read books outside your usual field, take courses that challenge you, or write about what you're discovering. Every small step adds up, and over time, it transforms what you consider normal and possible. Remember, life begins where your comfort zone ends. Every time you dare to do something new, you're training your mind to grow. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. If you truly want to improve, you must be willing to feel discomfort. Accept that fear, uncertainty, and effort are natural parts of the process. The good news is you don't have to change everything today. Just take one small step. And tomorrow, another. When you look back, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. So tell me, what will be the first step you're going to take today to get out of your comfort zone? Chapter 3. Building Habits for 1% Growth. Success isn't a fluke, nor is it built on isolated events or moments of sudden inspiration. Rather, it's forged through solid habits that are repeated day after day. If your goal is to constantly improve, the key isn't making drastic changes, but rather establishing small, effective habits that, over time, generate profound transformation. Many people believe they must rely on motivation to improve. However, motivation is volatile. There are days when you'll feel encouraged, and others when you won't feel like doing anything. Habits, on the other hand, work regardless of how you feel. When an action becomes a habit, it no longer requires conscious effort and becomes part of your daily routine. Here's how you can apply the 1% daily improvement principle, ensuring your habits work with you, not against you. A habit is an automatic behavior that you repeat regularly. It forms when an action is associated with a reward and is reinforced through repetition. Most of our habits occur without us even thinking about them. For example, you might check your phone when you wake up without planning to. Before going to sleep, you brush your teeth out of habit. If you walk past a coffee shop, you might buy a cup of coffee almost reflexively. These behaviors are so ingrained because the brain seeks to conserve energy and avoid making decisions every moment. We automate behaviors that are repeated frequently. The problem is that not all the habits we form are positive. Some can lead us to stagnation, while good habits have the power to propel us toward success. The good news is that you can consciously design positive habits that work in your favor and facilitate your daily improvement, even if it's just 1%. James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, explains that every habit follows a 4-step sequence: cue, desire, response, and reward. The cue is the trigger that activates the habit, the desire is the motivation that drives it, the response is the action you take, the habit itself, and the reward is the immediate benefit that reinforces the behavior. To create a positive habit, you need to optimize each of these elements. For example, if you want to read more, you might leave a book on your nightstand, cue, remind yourself of the benefits of reading, desire, read a page before bed, response, and enjoy the knowledge gained and the satisfaction of making progress, reward. Over time, what began as a deliberate act becomes automatic. To build habits that foster continuous improvement, you can implement an effective system. Start small. One of the most common mistakes when trying to form habits is starting with changes that are too big. If you've never exercised before, don't try to work out for 2 hours a day right away. Start with 5 minutes. If you want to write a book, start with 50 words a day instead of 1,000. If you want to meditate, start with 2 minutes. The goal is to make the habit so easy that it's impossible to fail. It's better to do a little each day than a lot one day and then give up. Connect the new habit to an existing one. This technique, known as habit stacking, involves linking the new behavior to something you already do. For example, after brushing your teeth, read a page of a book. After drinking coffee in the morning, write down an idea in your journal. After arriving at the office, write down your 3 priorities for the day. This way, your brain associates the new habit with an already established one, making it easier to incorporate. Design your environment for success. Our environment powerfully influences our habits. If you rely solely on willpower, you're likely to fail. But if your environment fosters good habits, change becomes almost inevitable. For example, if you want to eat healthy, leave fruit in plain sight. If you want to exercise, lay out your workout clothes the night before. If you want to read more, place books in places where you spend time. On the other hand, to eliminate negative habits, make them difficult to execute. Leave your phone in another room if you want to reduce its use, or avoid having unhealthy food in the house if you want to improve your diet. When your environment supports you, good habits are naturally reinforced. Track your progress and celebrate small achievements. Recording your habits is a great way to stay motivated. When you can see your progress tangibly, it's easier to keep going. Use a notebook or app to mark each day you accomplish your habit. Keep track of your progress, no matter how small, and be sure to celebrate it. You don't need big rewards, simply acknowledging your efforts is enough. This strengthens your identity as a constantly improving person. Don't break the chain, but if you do, get back to it immediately. There will be days when you fail to stick to your habit. The important thing isn't perfection, but long-term consistency. A useful rule is to never fail twice in a row. If you don't exercise one day, do it the next. If you don't read one day, get back to it the next day. What destroys progress isn't failing once, but allowing that failure to become a habit. If you're looking to improve daily, here are some habits that can transform your life. When it comes to productivity, plan your day the night before. For your health, drink a glass of water when you wake up. As for personal development, read 10 minutes every day. To cultivate a positive mindset, write down 3 things you are grateful for. And to strengthen your discipline, dedicate the first 10 minutes of your day to an important task before checking social media. Each of these habits may seem small, but over time, their impact is immense. In conclusion, habits shape your future. Your life is a direct result of the habits you build. You don't need gigantic transformations to achieve profound change. You just need to commit to improving a little each day. If you take the 1% approach and stick with small but consistent habits, your growth will be inevitable. Real change doesn't happen in a single day, but if you start today, a year from now you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come. Choose a habit. Start now. The first step is the most important. Chapter 4. The Psychology of Consistency. Many people set ambitious goals but fail to achieve them, not because of a lack of talent, resources, or intelligence, but because they don't maintain the consistency necessary to reach the end of the journey. The key to success lies not in sporadic, large efforts, but in small, repeated, disciplined actions. Consistency is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. But why is consistency so difficult? Why do some people manage to stay on track while others give up? The answer lies in the psychology of consistency. Understanding how our minds work can help you cultivate the self-discipline necessary to improve 1% every day, without interruption. In this text, we'll explore how to establish sustainable habits, overcome lack of motivation, and build a mindset that ensures continuous progress. Why is consistency so difficult? Being consistent sounds easy in theory, but in practice, it's a challenge because our brains don't always work in our favor. Here are some obstacles that make consistency difficult. The pursuit of instant gratification. Our minds are wired to prefer immediate rewards over long-term benefits. We choose to check social media instead of working on a project because the pleasure is instant. We opt for fast food instead of healthy eating because the results are immediate. However, true success comes from repeated actions that only show their impact over time. Paralyzing perfectionism. Many people believe they must do something perfectly or not do it at all. If they fail even one day in their routine, they feel like all their efforts are wasted and give up. The key isn't perfection, but consistency despite mistakes. Information overload. Burnout. We live in a world full of advice on how to improve, but too many options can lead to inaction. The best strategy is to focus on one change at a time and integrate it into your life before adding more. Self-sabotage and the all-or-nothing mentality. Many people think that if they fail once, it's no longer worth continuing. In reality, what matters isn't the number of times you stumble, but the number of times you get back up. Knowing this, the first step to developing consistency is accepting that mistakes are normal, but the crucial thing is to keep going. The science of consistency, how the brain works. Our brains seek convenience and efficiency, preferring automated habits because they require less mental effort. This is an advantage if you use consistency to your advantage, but a disadvantage if you allow bad habits to take root. When you repeat an action daily, new neural connections are created that make it easier over time. It may require effort at first, but after enough repetition, it becomes automatic. For example, brushing your teeth used to be an effort, now you do it without thinking about it. If you get into the habit of reading 10 minutes a day, it will feel natural after a few weeks. If you train yourself to write every day, your brain will accept it as part of your routine. Consistency turns difficult tasks into automatic habits, but to get there, you have to overcome the initial resistance phase. How to develop consistency step by step. Here are proven psychological strategies for staying consistent without relying on motivation. Reduces friction. One of the biggest obstacles is initial resistance. The harder it is to start an action, the less likely you are to do it. Solution: make the habit as easy as possible. If you want to exercise, lay out your clothes the night before. If you want to read more, place a book on your bed or desk. If you want to drink more water, always have a bottle in sight. The 2-minute rule: when you're having trouble starting a habit, strip it down to its simplest form. Instead of reading for 30 minutes, start with 1 page. Instead of exercising for an hour, start with a squat. Instead of writing 1,000 words, start with a sentence. The trick is to initiate action, because once you start, you're more likely to continue. The never break the chain technique. Jerry Seinfeld used a method for writing jokes every day. He'd mark an X on a calendar each time he did it. His only rule was not to break the streak. You can apply this to any habit. Each day you complete your action, mark it on a calendar or a tracking app. Watching the streak grow will motivate you to keep going. Reward yourself. Your brain repeats what gives it pleasure. If you want to be consistent, associate the habit with a reward. Listen to your favorite song after exercising. Enjoy a cup of coffee after completing a difficult task. Congratulate yourself every time you maintain your habit. Forgive yourself for the setbacks, but come back quickly. There will be days when you can't stick to your routine. This is normal. The important thing isn't being perfect, but preventing a mistake from becoming a pattern. Ruler: if you miss one day, never miss 2 days in a row. If you didn't exercise one day, do it the next day. If you didn't write one day, do it again as soon as possible. Real-life examples of consistency. Many successful people have used consistency as their greatest advantage. Stephen King write at least 2,000 words every day, without exception. Serena Williams trains daily, even when there are no tournaments. Warren Buffett reads for hours every day to improve his financial knowledge. What sets them apart isn't natural talent, but their ability to keep doing the right thing day after day, without excuses. Chapter 5. Accept setbacks as steps to success. Success isn't a straight line. Often, when we think about it, we imagine a clear, direct, almost perfect path, as if successful people move smoothly from point A to point B. But the reality is very different. Progress is full of ups and downs, unexpected detours, and moments of doubt. Setbacks aren't signs of giving up, but rather stepping stones that propel us to greater heights. Those who achieve their goals aren't those who never make mistakes, but rather those who know how to get up after each fall and learn from them. Setbacks are a natural part of growth. They're inevitable because growth involves change, and all change comes with uncertainty and challenges. Every time we decide to improve, we enter new territory, where making mistakes is normal. If you never fail, you've probably never left your comfort zone. Think of it this way: if you start exercising, you'll likely burn out quickly at first. If you're learning a new language, you'll constantly make mistakes. If you start a business, you'll likely fail several times before finding the right strategy. Every setback is a lesson that brings you closer to success. The problem isn't failure, but how we interpret those failures. We need to view them as feedback, not as the end. Many people believe that failure means not being good enough or that it's better to give up. But in reality, failure is simply a signal that something in your strategy needs to change. If you're trying to lose weight and aren't seeing results, failure is telling you to adjust your approach. If you're starting a business that isn't working out, failure offers you an opportunity to identify and avoid mistakes in the future. Even if a relationship ends badly, that failure can reveal aspects of yourself that you need to work on. Setbacks don't mean you're incapable, they just indicate that you haven't yet found the most effective way to achieve what you want. Successful people don't let failures defeat them, they turn them into their teachers, into tools to refine their methods and keep moving forward. Not all setbacks are the same. Some are small, others larger, and some can shake your entire emotional structure. Learning to recognize them can help you cope better. The first type is the small obstacles of everyday life: a bad day at work, skipping a workout, not sticking to your reading plan. These are minor setbacks that can demotivate you if you don't handle them well. It's best not to magnify them more than necessary. A bad day doesn't mean all is lost. Get back to your habit as soon as possible. The key to success isn't perfection, but consistency. The second type is significant failures, those moments when things don't go as expected. Common examples include failing an important exam, not getting the job you wanted, or losing money on an investment. Here, it's crucial to look at the situation objectively. Instead of getting caught up in the emotion of failure, analyze what went wrong. Was there a lack of preparation? Was it a bad strategy? Did you lack information? Use that experience to adjust your plan and move forward. A setback doesn't determine your destiny, it just represents a bend in your path. The third type is major crises, moments that test your inner strength. Losing a loved one, suffering a great financial loss, or a deep emotional breakdown are examples of these challenges. In these cases, it's essential to allow yourself to feel. It's not about ignoring the pain or demanding an immediate recovery. Seek support, you don't have to face these situations alone. Talk to people who will listen, who understand. Over time, try to find meaning in the difficulty. Often, the toughest challenges teach us the most valuable lessons about life, resilience, and what truly matters. And after every major crisis, there is always an opportunity to emerge stronger. To move forward after a setback, it's helpful to have practical strategies. First, change your relationship with failure. Don't see it as a defeat, but as an opportunity to learn. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What will I do differently next time? How can I grow from this experience? Second, don't identify with your failures. Failing at something doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that an attempt didn't work out. You are not your mistakes. Some of the most successful people in the world have failed many times, but what sets them apart is that they never let their failures define who they were. Third, create a quick recovery system. When you face a setback, have a plan to get back on track quickly. For example, if you lose a productive day, organize your schedule to get back on track the next day. If you fail an exam, design a more effective study plan. If you feel demotivated, remind yourself of your purpose and the reasons that led you to start. Fourth, visualize long-term success. In the midst of a challenge, it may seem like all is lost, but if you look ahead, you'll see that this problem is just a small part of your story. Ask yourself, will this matter 5 years from now? Probably not. Fifth, maintain the 1% habit. Even when you face difficulties, move forward, even if it's in small steps. If you can't do your entire workout routine, do a shorter version. If you can't focus on studying, review a single concept. If you had a bad day, find at least one positive thing to focus on. The important thing is not to stop completely. There are numerous examples of success that emerged after major failures. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team and went on to become one of the greatest players in history. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for allegedly lacking creativity and ended up building an entertainment empire. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job and went on to become one of the most influential talk show hosts in the world. All of them used their failures as fuel to grow and achieve extraordinary things. The conclusion is clear: turn setbacks into stepping stones. Failures aren't walls blocking your path, but steps that propel you upward. Every stumble holds a lesson that brings you a little closer to your goal. The difference between those who achieve great things and those who fall behind isn't the absence of failure, but how they respond to it. So every time you face a setback, remember, this isn't the end. It's just part of the journey. Get up, learn, keep going. Advance 1% each day. And eventually, you'll see how far you can go. Chapter 6. Measuring progress and celebrating small victories. The power of seeing your progress is one of the most valuable tools for staying on track toward your goals. Many people give up on their goals not because of a lack of effort, but because they feel like they're not making progress. They discipline themselves, work consistently, but when they don't see immediate results, they become demotivated and lose momentum. However, there's an essential truth about personal growth: progress is cumulative, not instantaneous. If you improve just 1% each day, you might not notice much change in a week or even a month. But if you persist for a year, that small daily improvement becomes a profound transformation. That's why it's essential to trust the process and find ways to monitor your progress, no matter how small it may seem. Learning to measure your progress will allow you to celebrate every achievement, no matter how small, and these habits will help you maintain motivation and discipline over time. Measuring your progress not only lets you know how far you've come, but it's also a powerful psychological strategy. There are 3 key reasons why this is essential. First, it strengthens your motivation. Seeing concrete evidence that you're making progress gives you a sense of satisfaction that drives you to keep going. Without a record, you might believe you haven't achieved anything, even if you have. Second, it allows you to adjust your strategy. If you don't keep track, how will you know if what you're doing is actually working? And third, it creates a cumulative effect. Each small step forward strengthens your identity as someone disciplined and committed to their development, creating a positive cycle in which the more progress you see, the more you want to keep moving forward. You don't need a complex system to measure your progress. The important thing is to have a clear and simple way to visualize your progress. There are several useful methods. One of them is keeping a progress journal. Writing down what you do and how you feel allows you to keep a fresh look at the progress you've made. You can do this in different ways, with a daily log where you briefly write down your actions and emotions, a weekly list of accomplishments, or a monthly comparison between your current situation and that of previous weeks. For example, day 45 of my reading habit. Today I read 10 pages of a book on leadership. I notice I'm concentrating more easily. When you reread these notes months later, you'll be surprised at how far you've come. Another useful method is to use a habit tracker. It can be an app, a spreadsheet, or simply a calendar where you mark each day you accomplished your habit. If you exercised, you put a check mark. If you studied a language, another check mark. If you avoided distractions, another one. The key is to not break the chain. Seeing those check marks accumulated is highly motivating. You can also take photos or record objective data. For certain goals, a picture or a number can be more impactful than any written note. If you're working on your fitness, a monthly photo can show your progress. If you're learning a skill, measure how many words you write or how many books you read. If you're saving money, keep track of how much you're accumulating. Comparing the before and after will be a surprising source of motivation. Another effective strategy is to set small goals within a larger objective and celebrate each step you take. Large goals may seem unattainable, but breaking them down into more manageable steps makes everything clearer and less intimidating. For example, if your goal is to read 20 books a year, your mini goal could be to read 1 chapter a day. And when you finish 5 books, give yourself a small reward, like enjoying your favorite coffee. Recognizing each step you take is vital, because each step brings you closer to your ultimate goal. Celebrating small victories is essential. Many people believe that only big achievements deserve to be celebrated, but if you wait until the end to pat yourself on the back, you could lose energy along the way. Celebrating activates the brain's reward system. Every time you acknowledge an achievement, your brain releases dopamine, which reinforces positive behavior and encourages you to continue. Plus, celebrating every improvement, no matter how small, keeps motivation alive and prevents you from losing interest. It also reinforces your identity as someone consistent, disciplined, and focused on growth. Celebrating doesn't mean spending a fortune or offering lavish rewards. You can do it in simple and meaningful ways. For example, create a system of small rewards. If you stick to your habit for a week, allow yourself an afternoon off. If you complete a project, treat yourself to a meal at your favorite restaurant. Share your accomplishments with someone you trust. Telling a friend or family member what you've achieved reinforces your commitment. Use positive affirmations. Self-acknowledgement is just as valuable as receiving external praise. Phrases like, "I'm making progress," or "I'm becoming the best version of myself," can make a difference. Reflect on how far you've come. Look at your journal or tracker and give yourself credit for your efforts. And finally, turn that celebration into fuel to keep going. I've made a lot of progress. What can I improve next? Some practical examples. If you complete a month of training, buy new workout clothes. If you finish studying 10 subjects, take a day off. If you stick to your work routine for 30 days, plan a special outing with friends. Every small celebration reinforces the habit and makes progress second nature. Remember, great changes come from small steps. Success doesn't happen in a single instant, it's the sum of many small victories accumulated. Learning to measure your progress and celebrate each step is what will keep you grounded, motivated, and confident. Don't wait to reach the final goal to feel proud. Every achievement, no matter how small, is a clear sign that you're on the right path. Chapter 7. Mastering Patience and Discipline. Patience and discipline are the fundamental pillars of long-term success. Many people dream of achieving great things, but few are actually willing to pay the price that such achievement entails. If you've ever set a goal, you know that at first, everything feels exciting, full of energy and motivation. However, over time, that initial enthusiasm often fades, and the rewards begin to seem distant and unattainable. This is where patience and discipline come into play. What truly differentiates those who achieve their goals from those who give up along the way? The answer lies in their ability to remain steadfast, patient, and disciplined, even during the toughest ups and downs of the process. These two qualities are essential for achieving any lasting transformation. Patience is fully accepting that success takes time. We live in an age of immediacy, where we're accustomed to having everything within reach in a matter of seconds, from a meal to an answer on the internet. But true success rarely comes instantly. It's built step by step, through constant and sustained effort. Patience is the ability to understand that results won't be seen immediately, but that, if you persist, they will eventually come. It's not a quality that's acquired overnight. Rather, it's something that's cultivated over time, through a conscious, focused, and consistent attitude. Successful people don't reach the top in a single attempt. Their path is filled with setbacks, falls, and difficult moments. Patience helps you tolerate these stages and gives you the space to learn from your mistakes, without letting those setbacks make you give up. Patience also gives you perspective. It allows you to make more thoughtful and less impulsive decisions. Instead of acting out of frustration, it offers you the calm needed to think clearly, avoid unnecessary mistakes, and continue moving steadily toward your goals. To develop patience, it's helpful to visualize the future. Always keep in mind the ultimate goal and what your life will look like once you achieve your goals. That image will anchor you through the toughest days. It's also important to enjoy the process, not just the destination. Every small step you take, every task you complete, is bringing you closer to your goal and, at the same time, teaching you something valuable. Setting realistic goals is another effective strategy. When objectives are achievable, you celebrate every small step forward, and that strengthens your patience. It's also essential to let go of the need for immediate rewards. Get used to working towards something you might not see today, but that will bear fruit tomorrow. True satisfaction comes from knowing you gave your best every day, without expecting instant results. On the other hand, discipline is the ability to act independently of your mood. It's the skill of doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it or when enthusiasm fades. Unlike motivation, which can come and go, discipline is based on a firm commitment to moving forward, regardless of how you feel at any given moment. Discipline is what sustains you when excitement fades and the road becomes uphill. It's what drives you to act, even when you face challenges, fatigue, or lack of immediate results. You don't stop at the first stumble, because you know that progress lies in perseverance. Furthermore, discipline is the seed of habits. Doing something over and over again, every day, even in small doses, transforms that effort into a part of your identity. This way, your progress stops depending on motivation and becomes a lifestyle. To develop it, you have to act even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is born from willpower, not mood. If you know what you need to do, just do it. Every day. Without making excuses. Even when you feel like you're not making progress. Break down big tasks into smaller, more manageable actions, and you'll see how the unattainable begins to become possible. Create a firm, daily routine. Structure is a friend of discipline and helps you stay moving, even on the least inspired days. Accepting that there will be difficult days is also part of the process. Discipline doesn't mean ignoring fatigue or frustration, but rather moving forward despite them. It means recognizing your weaknesses and facing them with courage. Patience and discipline, although different, complement each other profoundly. Patience allows you to wait without despairing, while discipline ensures that you keep taking steps every day. Patience without discipline can lead to passive waiting, in which you dream but don't act. Conversely, discipline without patience can lead to frustration at not seeing quick results, leading to burnout. Both qualities, together, offer you a powerful combination. Discipline drives you forward, and patience allows you to endure. One without the other can lead to stagnation or burnout. But together, they give you the strength and serenity you need to get where you want to go. Integrating them into your life doesn't require major changes, but rather conscious and consistent decisions. Start by setting long-term goals and break them down into specific daily actions. Let discipline guide you each day, and let patience remind you that the results will come with time. Enjoy the process. Don't pin all your happiness on the final result. Every step you take is part of the journey. Learn to value every effort, no matter how small. If you fail one day, don't beat yourself up. Use the technique of never failing twice in a row. Get back on track the next day. That resilience is part of what will make you strong. As you remain disciplined, your confidence will grow. Patience will allow you to see that even if the progress is small and slow, it is real. And if you accept from the beginning that the path will not be easy, you will be better prepared to face the difficult moments with serenity and focus. Success isn't built on sporadic feats or bursts of motivation. It's built day by day, step by step, with the patience of someone who knows how to wait and the discipline of someone who never stops. These two skills, carefully cultivated, are what will truly bring you closer to your dreams. Remember, success doesn't come immediately, but with each consistent step, you're closer. Even if you only make a little progress today, that small step adds up. Patience will allow you to keep believing, and discipline will keep you moving forward. If you cultivate these, there will be no obstacle you can't overcome, no goal out of reach. Today, take another step. Move forward. Because the future you desire is closer than you imagine. Extra content. Adapting and adjusting your approach. Success isn't a process that can be rigidly followed. Life and its challenges are constantly changing, and methods that seem effective today may not be so tomorrow. The reality is that adapting and adjusting your approach are fundamental skills for lasting growth. Blindly clinging to a single strategy can cause you to miss valuable opportunities or, worse, lead you to repeat failures without learning from them. One of the most powerful aspects of growth is the ability to evolve over time. In this text, we'll explore how to develop a flexible mindset and how to adjust course as you move toward your goals. We'll discover that adaptability not only allows you to overcome obstacles but also helps you refine your path to success. The mistake of sticking to a single plan. In many areas of life, people become so obsessed with their goals that they forget to evaluate whether the path to achieving them is still the right one. The desire to follow a rigid plan can cloud the perception that something isn't working. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing there's only one way to achieve things, but this closed-mindedness limits possibilities, preventing them from exploring new ideas or changing direction when necessary. The world's greatest innovators are those who aren't afraid to adjust their approach. Instead of sticking to a single plan, they seek alternatives, learn from obstacles, and constantly evolve. For example, Apple didn't become the tech giant it is today because its first product was successful, but because Steve Jobs and his team refined their strategies until they found what really worked. Why flexibility is crucial for long-term success. Mental flexibility is what allows you to move forward when the going gets tough or when circumstances change unexpectedly. There are several reasons why adaptability is essential. The world is constantly changing. We live in an era of rapid technological, social, and economic transformation. Those who don't adapt are left behind. Learning from mistakes, adaptation allows us to view setbacks as learning opportunities, not failures. Every mistake provides valuable information for improvement. Take advantage of new opportunities. By being flexible, you can identify paths you hadn't considered in your initial plan. A timely change of course can make the difference between stagnation and success. Avoid frustration. Persisting with a strategy that doesn't work only leads to burnout. Flexibility allows you to conserve energy and focus while looking for alternatives. How to know when to adjust focus. It's not always easy to recognize when it's time to change strategy. Many people, after a failure, believe the solution is to try harder, without realizing that perseverance without reflection leads to repeating the same mistakes. Here are some signs that it's time to rethink your approach. Results aren't coming. if you don't see significant progress after a considerable amount of time, it's likely that the method isn't the right one. For example, if you've been following an exercise regimen for months without achieving your goals, you may need to change it. Lack of motivation. When a plan becomes monotonous or no longer inspires you, it's a sign that something needs to change. It's not about giving up, but rather reinventing the way you approach your goals. New information or ideas. As you progress, you'll gain knowledge that can improve your strategy. Don't be afraid to incorporate it. Recurring obstacles. If the same problems appear over and over again, your approach is likely flawed. Adaptability allows you to learn from these difficulties and adjust your course. How to adjust focus without losing sight of your targets. Changing direction doesn't mean giving up on your goals, but rather finding a more effective way to achieve them. Some keys to achieving this are: keep your main objectives clear. Adjustments should be aligned with your ultimate vision. It's the method that changes, not the goal. Analyze what isn't working. Reflect honestly on your shortcomings. Lack of resources. An overly ambitious approach. Identifying the problem will give you clues to the solution. Try new strategies gradually. Don't make radical changes right away. Experiment with small adjustments and evaluate the results. Learn from those who have already achieved it. Observe others who have achieved similar goals and adapt their strategies to your context. It's not about copying, but about being inspired. Keep an open mind. True adaptability requires curiosity and a willingness to explore options you may not have considered before. The value of experimentation. Trial and error are a fundamental part of growth. There is no single path to success, and every failure is a lesson that brings us closer to the solution. Changing our mindset is key. Failure is not the enemy. Every setback is an opportunity to readjust our course. Experiment with new ideas. Trying different approaches, even on a small scale, allows you to discover what works without major risks. Growth mindset and adaptability. The ability to successfully adjust focus is linked to having a growth mindset. Those with this mindset believe in their ability to learn, improve, and adapt, even when things don't go as expected. In contrast, those with a fixed mindset see their abilities as immutable, which limits them to a single path and makes them resistant to change. By adopting a growth mindset, adjustments become opportunities for improvement, not signs of failure. Being flexible is a reflection of your ability to evolve and overcome challenges. The lifelong journey of 1% improvement. Continuous improvement is not a destination, but a journey. We are often taught that success is about reaching an end goal, a dream fulfilled, a degree earned, a goal conquered. However, the truth is much deeper. True success is not a point of arrival, but a constant process of personal evolution, a journey that never ends. Improving just 1% each day is not a technique for achieving quick results, but a philosophy of life that embraces constant growth. This idea may seem insignificant at first, but over time, that small daily percentage becomes a profound transformation. Change doesn't happen as a single big moment, but as a series of small decisions and adjustments that, when combined, take you to places that once seemed unattainable. Adopting this approach opens the door to a life filled with learning, evolution, and personal success. No matter where you are now, if you apply this mindset every day, your life can change. The journey to your best version begins today and has no definitive end, because change is an essential part of life. One of the most powerful aspects of continuous improvement is that it's in tune with the very nature of existence. Everything is constantly changing. Nothing stays the same forever. By adopting the 1% mindset, we accept that we can always grow, learn, become wiser, and develop new skills. It's not just about achieving great things, but about finding satisfaction in the small, everyday victories, in daily growth, even if it's not always obvious to the naked eye. People who understand this and embrace the process of daily improvement find more lasting satisfaction. Every day is a new opportunity to advance, to learn something new, to overcome challenges. The key is to enjoy the process, not obsess over the end result. In a society that values immediate achievements, this shift in focus can be challenging, but it is precisely what makes the difference between superficial success and real growth. Those who enjoy the journey, not just the destination, find greater fulfillment in the long run. They don't need a single grand goal to validate their efforts, because they recognize that every small step is an achievement in itself. The path to 1% improvement isn't always easy. There will be days when you feel like you're not making progress, that you're stuck, or even experience failures that make you doubt yourself. But those setbacks aren't the end. They're lessons in disguise, signs that indicate how to adjust course. Failure, in this context, doesn't have a negative connotation. It's simply a tool that shows us what isn't working and how we can do better next time. Seeing every mistake as a learning opportunity transforms the way you face obstacles. Even missteps have value because they teach you, shape you, and propel you forward. The 1% mindset turns every attempt, even the failed ones, into a valuable process. It's no longer about avoiding mistakes, but about learning from them and using them as drivers of growth. This principle doesn't just apply to personal development. It can be applied to any area of life. If you're working on a project that isn't showing immediate results, don't give up. Adjust, evaluate, and experiment. As you implement small, sustained changes, you'll move closer to a more polished version of yourself and a higher level of success. One of the reasons a 1% improvement is so powerful is its cumulative effect. It may not seem like much at first, but over time, the results multiply in surprising ways. Small daily improvements, when stacked on top of each other, create a profound impact. This effect can be applied to any area. If you read just 10 pages a day, by the end of the year you'll have read thousands of pages, equivalent to several full books. If you walk just 10 extra minutes a day, you'll have accumulated dozens of hours of activity. If you improve your concentration by 1% each day, over time you'll see a noticeable difference in your productivity. Continuous improvement transforms not only your skills, but also your way of thinking and your identity. It changes how you view challenges, how you act, even your relationship with yourself. The key to achieving this transformation isn't motivation, but consistency. Motivation is volatile, it comes and goes without warning. Relying on it alone to move forward is risky. Discipline, on the other hand, is the true engine of progress. It's the firm decision to continue, even when you don't feel like it. That's where the habit of improving 1% a day becomes powerful. Daily consistency is what keeps you going, regardless of your emotional state. To build this discipline, you need to create sustainable habits, small steps you can take every day, regardless of the circumstances. Over time, these habits become embedded in your routine, and discipline becomes part of who you are. Turning a 1% improvement into a lifestyle requires a few simple but profound steps. First, establish small daily habits. You don't need to make huge efforts, but rather commit to consistent actions that propel you toward progress. Second, be patient. You won't see immediate changes, but that doesn't mean you're not making progress. Trust the process and keep working on the details. Third, make learning a habit. Read, reflect, practice, everything counts. Learning something new every day is a sure way to keep improving. Fourth, find your internal motivation. While external motivation can help, true strength comes from your personal reasons. Knowing why you do what you do is what drives you when circumstances aren't ideal. And finally, celebrate your small victories. Every step, no matter how small, deserves recognition. This reinforces your commitment and gives you the energy you need to continue. This journey of 1% improvement never ends, and that's precisely what makes it so meaningful. Every day brings a new opportunity to grow, learn, and get closer to your best version. No matter where you are today, if you commit to improving a little bit each day, you'll be closer to your goals than you ever imagined. There's no limit to how far you can evolve. Continuous improvement is more than a technique, it's a way of life. A never-ending path that invites you to discover and develop your full potential.